I'm getting the image actually of spirits up there smiling and being happy that we're looking at this today.
Oh, good.
And
Okay.
showing an image of the globe, the earth, the world, uh, in terms of energy. One thing we can access, because you can apparently access all information, is how things are organized energetically on a worldwide, on a global scale. They're showing you the globe, and it looks like there are energy patches around various parts of the globe. And when we kind of zoom in, and some of them are lighter in color, and some of them are darker in color. There's a so we're doing the 50 million foot level. I don't know how far out you have to be.
Kind of like from
outer space,
yeah,
certainly.
Okay.
And you can still see portions. It's mostly over the water where it looks like a cloud cover to me, but I'm aware that it's energy. It's like an energy clouds. There are some little spaces where the energy clouds are very thin, and mostly that's over like oceans or big bodies of water. It's kind of interesting.
And when you say clouds, are you talking about like white clouds, light clouds?
This is where they come in different shades of gray and white. And so actually I don't see any white clouds. Let me see if we can rotate a little. White would represent very high energy.
Okay.
So in my asking about areas of very high energy, there may be a cloud that's gray. Actually, there's mostly gray, and the shades of gray are from lighter gray to almost to, well, there's some virtually black areas.
Wow.
And then when I'm asking about where are the areas of light, they'll come a pinpoint of light shooting up from the earth, shooting up like, like a little laser beam coming up, indicating that there are small areas of kind of like light, like of the really intense, high energy, high vibrational, the light that most of us seek and talk about, that those can shoot up almost like a searchlight. Oh, nice analogy.
Okay.
Anyway,
oh, good. Okay.
I like that. To indicate there's a if you get down through the cloud layer, you can follow that beam all the way down to where is that going on.
Right. And that let me just clarify with you for a second. That white light like that would represent what kind of
it's the
thought
same
patterns
kind
or
of light.
feelings or
it actually zooming in a little bit. It's the same nature of light that I see when I see angels, for example, when they're very radiant. It's that white radiant. If that light represents angels or an angel, the indication in this description here is that there's an angel there, or one or more, or whatever. Not that there are angels everywhere. There are angels everywhere. There are the opposite of angels, not everywhere, but a lot of places. So the light that we're talking about now, it doesn't, like if you don't see that light, it does not mean there is a lack of angels.
Okay.
It just means when you see that light, there's something going on at that time that is, they're saying, shedding light, that is, like something's really active and really going on in that space at that time at a very high angelic level. And there are angels involved.
Okay.
Angels are involved with lots of other things, but we're talking about a great big overview and not right down to the details. So if you see this searchlight beacon kind of thing, there's a lot of activity there at that time.
I want to be there.
I know. I think we all want to be there. So but that's really important, Kathy. The wanting to be there is necessary for that to be taking place. So what I'm doing is kind of like zooming in to look around, where is this beacon of light coming from? And it can come from, they're showing me a war like now, today, a war zone where things are, oh my gosh, things are really, really bad. So buildings are broken down around people. There's a lot of fear in terms of physical safety by, I'm not just saying normal people, which it feels like that leaves out the military. Well, there's probably fear in the military as well. But we're talking about people who are not involved.
Right.
They're zooming in on a
civilians.
a small group that has managed to get together for prayer.
Okay.
Women and children and men, but not so many men. Not as many men, like older men. So I'm going to guess that the young men have been siphoned off into the war zone. And times are very, very challenging and tough. And they enter into a state of, they're saying, community prayer.
Okay.
That is very restorative to them, very protective, very protective. Although they may not, it's almost like they've accepted that anybody could go at any time, but it feels very literally physically protective of them. It's almost like they're in this bubble of radiant light that is very protective in this community prayer, and like a community state of prayer. I'm asking, does it have to be more than one person? And it's like, no, it doesn't have to be more than one person, but the more people there are, and it feels like these people emotionally and relationally hold to each other to support each other in this prayer, in this
so
connection.
Necessary in a situation like this. Right?
And the more people there are there, the bigger the light is all they're saying. So an individual might be able to do this, and it would just be a little light. And then it looks like they get together, and then they go home and they carry that light and radiance with them.
Okay.
But they're surrounded. I mean, it isn't like it just hovers over them. It's like, whoa, down in their space. When they go, they're showing me one woman in particular who has 2 children holding hands. They're little ones. She's got head covering,
like
long,
a burqa.
Must be a burqa. And she's realistic, you might say, about her situation, but she is able to leave with a true sense of peace. That surrounds. So I can see her auric field that is, again, they're saying very protective. It's at a very high vibrational level, very radiant, and so she's got her kids down here, and you can see it come around her and extend over her little children.
Oh, wow.
And so she's able to go home and stay in this state of peace for a long time, apparently. And what she's actually doing as well is, they're showing a man coming up to her, and he has a much heavier, darker, almost more sinister energy, and that she's in such a state of radiance, I guess you'd say. Not that she looks different from the outside, but I can see that her auric field around her. And so this man walks up, probably with ill intent, and it's almost like he doesn't see her because he's on such a different vibration, I guess you'd say, that it's almost like he is deflected off and she's able to go on. That's an illustration. Go on safely. That's an illustration of the safety, the protection that they're talking about.
Wow.
Isn't that interesting? I wish you could see this little video playing out here.
I could, yes. But that's really quite a story in the sense of what we all can do, even in situations that aren't even close to that seriousness. But when we build that protection around us like that.
And they keep showing, and her children, and her little children.
Right. Wow, that's powerful.
Well, it also indicates that we can be surrounded by not so radiant energy, just in our everyday daily life. In fact, when they, so with the example of this beautiful laser beam beacon searchlight, it shines, and then it gets, so I'm back up at the 50 million foot level, I guess you'd say. It shines, and then it's almost like creating a space. And then it starts to shrink again and get smaller and smaller. And then it gets rejuvenated and shrinks. In other words, my sense is, and I'm walking to see if I get this right, the connection that is established in that community prayer needs to be, constant, or it's not, well, constant would be great, but it needs to, you can't do it once and
be
have
protected
it and be
forever.
protected forever.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it has to be a genuine, long-lasting state of being, lifetime pursuit.
Can you be more clear on how, like, what does a person need to do or be in order to build that sense of, like, I like that word, radiance around
it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's a special radiance, I have to say. A special radiance. And you asked what did
So I'm asking, like, for a person who maybe is just learning about that you could create that, what is it they're actually doing? When you say, are they praying, but what does it matter what form of prayer?
Oh, not at all. So the woman who is the example here is, religion doesn't matter.
Okay.
Religion totally doesn't matter. It could be any woman, anywhere. They're showing me various different examples.
Right. And what's at the core of that?
It's really the feeling they're giving me, and it may be more. There may be more information around this, but what's coming up right now is that sense of connection. It's sense of connection between the individual down here and spirit. The good guys, the high vibrational ones who love us up there and who are there to help us and protect us.
So by asking for them to protect us, or for them to be with us, or
right. That is definitely part of it.
A sincere desire.
The sense of peace is really beautiful, but the sense of peace that two things have to happen, you would probably start by asking for that. You certainly can ask for that at any time, and like all times and so on. But it also looks like this particular woman who's being the example, she's only one example, there are a lot of different ways this can happen, but in her example, she has a very established relationship with her spiritual team, I don't know what to call them, with the higher energies up there. So that she doesn't even have to ask anymore. It's almost like just connecting with him. It's like the friend walks into the room and there you are together. You don't even have to say anything.
Okay.
And for her, because she's it's just a way of life, and it's genuine. So two things that have happened. One is she has learned this. In her case, she's learned this from a little girl, and has. So it's her understanding of it has evolved with greater and greater wisdom and connection as she grew up. That's one way only. You certainly can establish this as an adult with no background. So it's just a matter of, in her case, she has been able to reach a level of comfort and wisdom where she can just, and believe, she really knows this is true, trust, etc.
More than believing, knowing.
It's more than believing, it's knowing, because she has this experience over and over, apparently, to be able to bring her to this place of peace amidst chaos and destruction.
Sure.
She also has an acceptance, which is an indication of allowing
for what is.
Allowing for what is. It doesn't mean she wouldn't try to make things better, but she doesn't kind of like waste energy fighting against something in a way that isn't going to make any good. Just with saying, I don't like this. She doesn't waste her time doing that. Although she does, rationally do the best she can with the environment she has to feed the kids and to keep them out of the weather, that kind of thing.
It's not about surrendering and not doing anything.
Exactly.
But it's about having that sincere commitment.
And accessing the state of peace and acceptance that allows her to be more effective in helping, is what they're saying. In helping, and the helping, I believe, has to do with helping take care of others, helping take care of herself, helping change the situation. She's able to see more clearly she's more open to guidance and able to see, therefore, able to see more clearly, here's something over here that's going to be helpful for you. Here's something over there. Because she is not focusing her energy on resisting what is, that keeps the information out. Does that make sense?
So she knows her spiritual team. She's connected to her spiritual team, and she knows how to go into that peaceful place.
When the spiritual team comes up, the indication is that it may look different to different people.
Sure.
But it's almost like they're showing me a rose. What does that have to do? Oh, so roses being representing one's spiritual team, I'll say, come in all different colors. They come in different sizes. They come in, and somebody's favorite rose might be a different color. It might be a tea rose. It might be I don't know what the other kinds are called. But they're all roses, meaning that they can come in different various styles, shapes, colors, and whatever we want, however we want to identify them. But it's the same underlying spiritual team.
And the feeling.
And it's through the feeling that you know that you've connected with them. It's that peaceful feeling. It doesn't matter what you call it.
Coming out of the heart, and knowing the truth.
It's coming out of the heart and going into the heart. This is where that much of that peace comes from. I mean, it's definitely a two-way communication.
Oh, wow. That is so powerful.
It has a lot to do with trust.
Yeah.
And the embodying experience, having the experience, and I see, those two things go together.
Right.
If you have the experience and reach the point of embodying they're saying the truth.
Yes.
Then, and what is, it's not just you, it's like knowing that this is real. This meaning your spirit team is there to love you, protect you, help you. And knowing that is real. Oh, that's the trust part. You after the embodiment, you can, right. Okay, so it's somewhat part of the human condition, especially if you're moving into this state. If you haven't fully reached the ease of somebody like the Dalai Lama or something, who can automatically trust, it's normal. Well, it's of the human condition to be skeptical. Like, did that really happen? Can I really count on that? Oh, surely not me. That kind of questioning. And so if I'm assuming we're talking to people who may be interested in moving more closely to their spiritual team, if they have this skepticism, don't let it deter you. It's just kind of maybe part of the process. You don't have to have experienced this, but many people do. This is part of the process, and your team will remind you, well, you remember how you felt when this happened, or you remember how this led to that, to help build your confidence and trust in how powerful this is, and in the reality of your connection with your spiritual team.
Wow.
One more thing. Sorry. Assuming we're talking to people who may be interested in perfecting and building this relationship.
Right.
Especially when someone is first getting into this and it has not yet become embodied in a way of life. The inclination is for people to seek help from their team when things are not going well. When they, would like to resolve this, that, or the other. And that's perfectly fine. That's often a very good entry point. People may not ever enter unless it's under those circumstances.
Sure.
So wonderful things can happen. And then life calms down again, and we fall back into our old habit of not communicating. This can happen. They're saying, please don't let this happen.
Okay.
For your benefit, for theirs, because they have to, your team goes back to twiddling their thumbs waiting for you to call them. But that also is, oh gosh, they're bringing it up. That apparently can happen a lot, because in many aspects of our lives, we will try something new, it's great, and then it just gets old, and we leave it behind and we go back to our old habits. So they're saying this is a human condition that is not really helpful. They're saying detrimental if we slide back into old habits that are not not raising us to a higher level. So there's kind of a warning, keep your eye open for that and don't let it happen.
Well, do we get nudges from our teens?
Yes, we can, especially if we ask for them, which indicates our heartfelt desire to stay with them, to not slip back. And also, again, the human condition is we can get the nudge, we will get the nudge, we will. Remembering the nudge is coming from a higher level, so it's not going to be a 2x4 to the head. That's the lower level, that's the heavier, more impactful, get your attention kind of, that's not helpful actually. That's probably not coming from the right place. But you can get a subtle reminder like, oh, I really, get back into that. And sometimes, hopefully, we will pay attention and catch that nudge and go with it, but a lot of times, apparently, people don't, especially if they're back into their normal busy life. And if that happens, your team is not going to abandon you. We've just chosen, okay, not right now, kind of. We're not going to look at that right now. So don't give up. If you get another nudge, because it is for everybody's highest and greatest good for you to keep connected to your team. Well, it gives them a little bit of conversation here, and say thanks for giving me the nudge. Somehow indicate to them that you do appreciate their help, so that they're going to keep nudging you. If you absolutely never pay attention over a period of time, the indication to your spirit team is, well, that's not their free will is saying, I don't really want to do that right now. So why, we're not going to bother you anymore until you decide that you want to do this, and then we'll give you all the help we can. When you're starting to build this relationship, you may, oh, well, we did that, didn't we? They're saying yes, but it's worth I'm saying briefly, repeating if we're going to repeat. We start with the initial ask for help, and then watch out for the fall back into, it's during the potential for falling back into your normal life after everything's fine. So that is the opportunity, the time where you build your friendship, you build your relationship with your spiritual team. And as you're saying, people are in awe of their spiritual team. And they don't want to bother them. And it's like, little unworthy me. No. They're your friends. They're your loved ones. They care about you. So if we don't continue to connect with them, it's like you ignoring someone who loves you. Shall we stop at this point and then? I think so. And I'd like to offer the opportunity. If questions are raised on the basis of what you're hearing in any of these videos, we would encourage you to submit comments under the YouTube video. There's so many people out there who would have different questions, which I think will help everyone to eventually see much more of the entire picture.